you talked about being in the flow state, taking energy. My understanding was being in the flow state took less energy, but you're saying it takes more energy. And can you explain why and a bit about that? Is it possible to be in flow and like be effortless?
So when we are in flow, flow is often described as effortless energy. So where does the term flow come from? Because when Csikszentmihalyi, the godfather of flow psychology, went around the world doing some of the initial research on this, we talked to people and be like, tell me about the times in your life when you felt your best and performed your best. That was the original research. And everybody said the same thing. Oh, when I'm at my best, I'm in this altered state of consciousness where everything, every decision, every action flows seamlessly, perfectly, effortlessly from the last, right? Flow is actually a phenomenon of description of the state, describes how the state makes us feel. And it talks about effortless effort, right? It's a Taoist term originally, effortless effort, but it has very much been absorbed by the flow world because that's how it feels. Now, it is also important to point out that like one of the reasons it feels this way is pattern recognition, our ability to link ideas together is turned way up in flow. The second thing is on a physical discomfort thing, in flow, some of the neurochemicals that show up, we get anandamide and we get endorphins. Both of those are very potent painkillers, usually potent painkillers. Endorphins, there are about 20 different endorphins in the body. The most common is 100 times more potent than medical morphine. Endorphins are internal opiates, by the way. They bond to the same thing. So these are really potent painkillers. In fact, one of the things that you have to do as an athlete is you have to learn. It's always dangerous to try to perform when exhausted, especially in action sports, right? So when I ski, I know if I'm under jumping my jumps or if my turns are sliding a little bit, it's a sign that I'm exhausted. I might not actually know I'm exhausted because I'm in flow and I've got all this painkiller flowing through my system. So I'm not as aware of it. And if I don't want to get hurt, right, that really sort of matters here. But energetically, flow is very high energy. The other thing is that some of the neurochemicals, so for example, dopamine and norepinephrine, two of the chemicals that show up in flow, we get dopamine at peak concentrations. We don't get norepinephrine, but either way, they have a shelf life in the brain at maximum capacity of about 20 minutes. So why are TED Talks 20 minutes long? It's because dopamine and norepinephrine, which are your two principal focusing, I'm focused and excited and listening to you and really enjoying they peak for 20 minutes and then they start to diminish and serotonin shows up in flow. It also, and to rebuild some of these things, for example, serotonin, it's not just, you need sleep, you need rest, but you also need, for serotonin, sunlight, certain B vitamins, tryptophans. So there's stuff we need to build back our neurochemical supply of some of these stuff. So on the back end of a flow state, there's a recovery phase, as I said. And most important about this recovery phase, we talked about huge impact on learning. That's not entirely true. To really close for that to happen, you also have to sleep. 7-8 hours of deep delta wave sleep. If you don't get deep delta wave sleep at a full night's sleep after you learn something, the brain can't transfer it from short-term holding into long-term storage. So you'll learn it and then you'll forget it. So part of a high flow lifestyle demands getting 7-8 hours of sleep at night. That's sort of, for peak performance, we call it it's one of the non-negotiables for peak performance. And this becomes more important over time, right? For prioritizing sleep becomes more important in the second half of our life as well. Really, really sort of foundational peak performance and peak performance aging.